Look at this crazy MPG, a huge advantage that Sportage has over Tucson. Hit it. What have you done, Kia? Seriously. Guys, I'm gonna swing it. Now it is the ICE first impression test drive. Welcome to CarSceneKorea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And as you saw from the thumbnail, I am test driving 2025 Kia Sportage Facelift, or PE, product enhancement model to be precise. I am test driving this car for days, and I'll be putting a lot of kilometers mileage on this car, including the HEV model, hybrid model that will follow in the next week. But this gasoline model is already blowing my mind just looking at that number right now. 15.5 on an ICE internal combustion engine model cars. We're not talking about hybrids here, people. By the way, that is Renault Grand Clios, which is only sold here in Korea. I have a video on that, so feel free to check it out. I already have test driven the HEV Sportage Facelift. From the view alone, I know a lot of people are hyped about this car. If you are watching this video right now, there's a very good chance I still will be driving Sportage Hybrid, so drop in the comment below anything you are curious about. I will get back to your question, as I always try my best to do. Sportage Facelift for the first time got 8-speed automatic. Yes, I'm not focusing on the engine but transmission, because that actually is a huge upgrade and difference from the previous 7-speed DCT that Sportage has had. 1.6 turbo together with 8-speed automatic, and that transmission is very different from the predecessor's 7-speed dry DCT transmissions. And I can tell you that with confidence because my daily driver Kia Seltos has 7-speed dry DCT. Of course, I have test driven other DCTs and 8-speed automatics. I wouldn't necessarily say one is superior over the other. However, depending on your needs and personal taste, there sure is a distinctive difference between the dry DCT versus this 8-speed automatic. Well, DCT being dual clutch transmission and it's dry, there is no fluid. Therefore, there tends to be more direct feedback from your transmission, i.e., you get direct response and feedback from those clutch and the DCT gears working together. However, when it comes to the automatic transmission, there being the fluid inside, it relatively provides more smoother transitions between the shifts and downshifts. Up until now, what I've been always saying and what I have experienced is that you get better MPG with DCTs because there is relatively lower and less power loss between the transmission due to the nature being. However, look at this crazy MPG fuel efficiency the car is giving me. It's almost giving me 16 kilometers per liter figure. Yes, if you have the mixed driving of cities and freeway, I guess that is going to go down. Mind blowing. Wow. Yeah, that's 100. I was like, might as well just floor it and show you the performance of the car. So, not necessarily the fastest car you can get from Hyundai Motor Group cars. However, the car gets the job done no problem. Like, it was almost from the 0 to 100 there. When you do have good enough of speed right now, just floor it. So look at that. The transmission responds quite quickly and will give you the right spot, right shift, right gear to downshift and give you that performance. Just to be fair, let's put that into sport and try it one more time. So no acceleration, hit it. Yeah, so the car wants to think. So no acceleration, hit it. Yeah, so the car wants to think which gear I should go into. It's not all that super direct. So let's try it one more time. Just look at this. So let's try it one more time. Just look at this. So when the gear is there, the car knows and will give you the performance just like this. Just like this. And you do get a lot of engine roars and noise coming into the cabin when you have it on the sport and flooring the car, of course. The cost of having fun is lowered MPG. It dropped down to 15.0, but you guys saw that it could go all the way up to 16, and that is me driving. There is only a very few cars that I've clocked the suggested fuel efficiency. That is Hyundai Tucson Hybrid and Kia EV3 up until today. I am the worst driver when it comes to the fuel economy, and even on the odometer, it only goes up to 18 kilometers. So I guess the car is performing amazingly great, but it is what it is. I want to see that 18 now, if I can. Wow. And I think there is a good chance of me hitting it, don't you think? And you know what? Now that I am thinking about it, I should actually make this video into my gasoline first impression video. I think it only makes sense that way, right? Let's do that. So I guess it's a fair video to come up with because I've done pretty much the same with the hybrid. So I'll do this, and then after test driving the hybrid, I will come up with the comparison video. Okay. Guys, I'm gonna swing it. Now it is the ICE first impression test drive. I really am blown away by the fuel economy actually, and I'm not in hybrid model. So I think there is less and less distinction between the ICE model and hybrid now, because it was all about the fuel economy when you are talking about hybrid. This ICE model is certainly catching up with the fuel economy to that of the hybrid as we are seeing right now. Well then, what is the advantage or benefit of having hybrid? You can find out all about that on my hybrid video. It is that motor control which yields to superior drive over the ICE model. It almost is like you have this ECS, electronically controlled suspension, having that motor running, because it does control the pitching, the vertical movement of a vehicle, and you will feel a huge difference immediately once you test drive that baby mode. So there are only two cars in whole Hyundai Motor Group that has the baby mode. That is Hyundai Tucson Facelift Hybrid and this Kia Sportage Facelift Hybrid. There has to be a motor in order for that baby mode because baby mode utilizes the motor. So rest of the interior, it is exactly the same except for that button I have showed you, because the car being ICE, there is auto stop and go, and the rest is exactly the same. You can get exactly the same as the hybrid and vice versa. However, the car I am test driving now is not an X-Line. I guess I could just call it a regular model. So there was no X-Line here in Korea. It was called Gravity trim. However, it seems like Kia decided to unify the trim name around the globe. Hence, the highest trim for Kia Sportage is now X-Line around the globe. And there are differences between the regular and X-Lines that I have covered on my first walk around, first look, where I have covered extensively on exterior, interior, back-to-back comparison video, and so forth. So please refer to that video. However, I'm driving one, so I want to show you, there we go, the second row and the rear view of this X-Line Kia Sportage. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I do love that gigantic panoramic sunroof. And if you have watched my previous video, you guys can tell that it is exactly the same. And that is my favorite, which I believe is a huge advantage that Sportage has over Tucson. That is that flag type glass. And you can already see on the video, I bet, the difference of having that flag type glass versus not. This portion of your view being obstructed versus not, a huge difference. I bet that flag type glass alone have already prevented numerous accidents around the globe. As I have said, I am on my way to drive the hybrid facelift, and I will definitely focus on the difference of the ride and the NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness, how it feels inside out of the vehicle, and I should be able to tell you all about it test driving the car back to back. And I doubt that I would find a lot of differences between the two. Well, because there are a lot of similarities. Even that MPG alone, you know, it's mind-blowing, right? However, there were some distinctive differences as soon as I hopped in this Kia Sportage ICE, and I'll double check that momentarily, so meet me over there if you want to know all about the differences between the hybrid and ICE model. And I'll tell you all about it, which car is for you in that video. And look at this, 15.3. It's only gonna go up, and that is me driving. Trust me, I never get that kind of number and reading on my Kia Seltos, not even close. And that looks like a Gravity Kia Sportage pre-facelift. It looks badass. I love that beautiful color. Nice color. I turned the camera back on. A couple of things I want to recap and wrap up again. Only drove the car for 4.3 kilometers. This is when we get the worst reading off of the odometer. You know, as soon as you started driving, but it's already given me 11.5. What have you done, Kia? Seriously, look at this thing. At the end of the test drive with HEV, I did manage to see the number go up to 14.6 kilometers per liter. As I have said, I will include the ultimate driving range, real-world driving range and efficiency at the end of my long-term test drive, so stay tuned for that. And the conclusion I want to give you before I wrap up, number one, the fuel economy is no longer the ultimate factor between the hybrid and gasoline, I dare to say. There we go. This is the living proof how popular Sportage is here in Korea. There is generations of Sportage in front of me as we speak. And you know what? That car there was Sportage too. So 3 different Sportage in front of me. I see a lot of Sportage here in Korea. And look at that, 14.0. And look at that blind spot view monitor working beautifully. And just so you know, that infrared is not visible to human eyes, so I don't see any of that when I am actually test driving the vehicle. Just so you know. Well, let's test out. Oh, never mind. I was gonna test out the HDA, but the car is completely stopped. Would have been beautiful place to test out the HDA2 here, but I know and I can tell you already, car would just nail an exit like this, no problem. And look at this threshold this car has, oh my God. Wow. So I am merging into the freeway, and as you saw, the car just controls the understeer beautifully. And this one too, shift away to the front. I have a lot of confidence going into the corner. Wow. This is beautiful, wow. Amazing performance. And this is a heavy turn. I mean, you can probably see it on the video, right? Let's make the lane change even. All right, so that's pushing the car to the limit, but no understeer whatsoever. The tire can handle it easy, and so can the car, so can Sportage. And picking up the speed, merging into freeway first lane. A lot of engine roar kicking in. That 8-speed automatic is just beautifully matched together with the car, and now I'm going to put the car into normal and get the most out of it.